They travel at speeds pushing 200 miles per hour. The very best drivers in the world putting their lives on the line every week. It's time to get the lowdown on this week's contenders, plus a look at the key driver matchups. Right now on Gone Racin.
Welcome back to Season 3 of Gone Racing. I'm Jeff Motley from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Joining me on the phone from Daytona Beach, Florida, where he's going to be running Sunday in the Daytona 500, is my partner in crime, Brendan Gaughan. And Brendan, if you think there's pressure racing in the Daytona 500 on Sunday, how about a public relations guy and a part-time race car driver sitting beside a real pro? We've got Kelli Stavast from NBC Sports joining us in studio today.
Thanks for having me.
We brought the heat today, Kelli. I couldn't be there in studio, so definitely a much better-looking studio without me there, and we appreciate you filling in. Of course, a Vegas girl, Motley. We love our Vegas. We're the Vegas crew. Kelli, you're one of my Vegas girls.
Yeah.
Right there.
Absolutely. If we could get her, we'd just make it a 3-person show every week, but I don't think that's going to probably happen.
I don't think it's in our budget.
We can talk.
Yeah. All right, so, Brendan, you're down there in Daytona. Obviously, you're locked in to the 500 for Sunday. What's the vibe down there? How you feeling about Sunday? How's everybody thinking about the race on Sunday?
Well, right now there's a few people that are very unsure, very nervous. Talked to Daniel Suarez last night. He's never been in this situation. He's trying to figure out what he has to do to get himself into the Great American Race. And so we were talking, me and his abuelo, we were all discussing what he has to do to get in. Can he get in with other people timing in? And so he's unsure about it. You got guys like me and JJ, or not JJ, Haley. I'm like, JJ Haley. No, Haley. And Justin Haley, and we are locked in. So you probably won't see a lot of fireworks out of us. And then everybody else just battling for a spot. So I think you'll see a much tamer race is what it sounds like talking to the guys than you saw in the Busch Clash. And there's a few guys that are going to be racing their tail off to try to make this race. A lot of money on the line for those teams that show up these few times a year like us.
Well, Brendan, before we get into the odds to win this week's race at Daytona, and people are actually going to be hearing this show. We're recording this early on Thursday morning, so most people are going to be hearing this show on Thursday night, maybe even after the duels and also before the race on Sunday. But we want to talk about some of the changes. And Kelli, I think maybe one of the biggest changes that we see going into this season is this crew chief swap that's gone on at Penske, where all this has moved around. I mean, what do you think was behind that, and how do you think that's going to play out?
I actually really like this crew chief swap they've had at Team Penske, and I think that those of us who have been around the garage pretty much full-time knew that there were some of those relationships between crew chief and driver that had become a little bit tumultuous. And I think that overall it was just a disappointing season for Team Penske, knowing how high their standards are. Of course, they had wins, and Brad Keselowski started the season last year so hot and then really fizzled out. And I think that they just wanted to switch things up and try get those new pairings to see if there's new ideas, just to see how those changes can maybe increase productivity. I mean, really, just they need more wins. They just needed a better season. So I'm all for it. I think they've got 3 talented crew chiefs and 3 talented drivers. And if you can get the pairings on a personality level with maybe 1 or 2 of those to mesh a little bit better, I think they could see some results. On the flip side of that, maybe it's one step back before you can go 2 steps forward if you need to kind of really adjust to a new crew chief driver pairing. Brendan can certainly speak to that better than I can. I mean, they're all in the same meetings together, so I'd assume they'd all have good relationships with each other. But I like this swap. I like this mix-up. I think it's positive. Well, see, and to me, that's the least shock.
But you look at what they've done in their career together. They've won championships. That was like me and Shane Wilson, where we were inseparable for such a long time. So, I mean, that to me was the shock. You may see it from the other side because you see different things than I get to see, and I see different things than you get to see, of course. But I just that to me that was cheese and crackers and peanut butter and jelly to me.
Well, and Brendan, you used to drive for Penske, so you probably have at least some idea of sort of the mentality that goes on over there. I mean, I've not really known Roger to have a lot of moving around within his organizations, or did you ever see that when you were there?
No, he's one that does not like to do a whole lot of moving and shaking. He is very one that sticks and stays and plays very calm. But for Roger to do it means that he sees a value. And the one thing I will never do is second guess Roger Penske. He knows what he is doing 99.9% of the time, and nobody's ever infallible. But Roger knows what he's doing, and especially when it comes to his race teams.
Okay, and one of the other new things we've got this year is we've got some drivers that have moved around a little bit. Obviously, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has gotten in the news this week by winning the pole. He's with a new team. We've got Chris Buescher, who's moved over to the Roush Fenway team, and then Matt DiBenedetto moving into the Wood Brothers car. Do you see any of those three guys? I mean, we know Ricky's been good on the super speedways. I mean, that's kind of been his thing. Not always good, but he's had some wins on those big tracks. Do you see any of those three guys really kind of stepping out from the others?
DiBenedetto. I think that you're going to see an amazing, you're going to see a really awesome run by Matt DiBenedetto this year. That is my early season prediction. And, going on predictions, just looking really quick at championship odds, Jeff. Matt DiBenedetto is 40-1 right now. I'm not going to say he's going to be strong enough to win the championship. But you know what? 40-1 on an early season odd. I will make a bet with you by halfway through the season. He is less than 15-1.
Well, and what does this say about Matt DiBenedetto and Kelli? We look at these numbers here. He has the same odds as Clint Boyer, Kurt Busch, and Jimmie Johnson.
I know.
That's pretty crazy.
That is pretty remarkable considering where Matt DiBenedetto was just a couple of years ago, and it shows what he's been able to do by putting faith in himself as a driver and take some chances on leaving some rides behind, hoping that a team eventually like Wood Brothers Racing, which is essentially an extension of Team Penske, right, that they would take a chance on him. So I agree with Brendan. I mean, I'm expecting big things out of Matt this year. I definitely think that he will deliver better results for that car than we've seen. I think he gets him win number 100 for Wood Brothers Racing, which will be amazing. But having said that, as you said, when you look at some of those odds for the season-long championship, it's not that I think that Matt doesn't deserve those odds, but I think maybe Kurt Busch should have better odds than that, or maybe some of these other guys. But
jump on it now. Jump on it now.
Well,
we talked about it last year, Kelli, me and Jeff. Jump on it early. You looking at a future? Jump on it now.
You got it. And while I'm here at the South Point, the sports book is next door. I might as well, right?
Right. She's only got to walk like 50 feet, and she can go ahead and put that bet down. And we'll tell Kurt that she bet on him the next weekend when we see him. Now, Brendan, one of the other new things, and probably the third biggest new thing, I think I'm probably as excited about this crop of rookies than any group that I can remember. I mean, Christopher Bell stepping into a Joe Gibbs car, Tyler Reddick moving into a Richard Childress car, Cole Custer coming in with Stuart Haas, probably a little bit more outside the box, John Hunter Nemecheck, also part of the rookie class. I think we're going to see a rookie in victory lane this year.
The rookie classes, remember we went through what? 5, maybe 8 years that rookie classes were non-existent. There was a couple years there.
Yeah.
Well, there was a couple years there. Remember where what was the extends guy that?
Well, Kevin Conway won it one year, and Andy Lally.
Andy Lally, and I love Andy.
And I've known Kevin since he was 10 years old, so I'm not going to diss.
We're not going to diss on him, but they were finishing 36th and getting rookie of the year. This year, as a couple years ago, when you had Chase Elliott, Austin Dillon, a bunch of those guys, another stellar rookie class. Cole Custer stepping in. That you have three. NASCAR has exactly what they want when they started these series that are training series. You have 3 Xfinity Series champions that are competing for Rookie of the Year. That is what you want when you say that that's what that series is supposed to be about. Names get made here. You have those names running in Cup all against each other as Rookie of the Year. It's going to be a hell of a battle.
And I think what makes it so exciting is that we've got these incredibly talented rookies in incredibly good rides, and so they're not going to go out there and run 36. They're in race-winning capable rides, and I think you got to look to Christopher Bell. Probably, to me, first and foremost, I would put the biggest expectations on him. Even though it's Tyler Reddick, who is the back-to-back Xfinity Series champion. But I'm really looking to Christopher Bell to see what he does, just the way that he was able to win so frequently in the Xfinity Series, and given that now he's going to be in a Joe Gibbs
car.
Right. I mean,
don't call it Levine.
Right.
Don't call it Levine. That's
right.
Joe. It may have that name.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I know that people want to call in and say it's Levine Family Racing, and yes, it is. But no, it's Joe Gibbs. Kind of like Wood Brothers is really an extension of the Penske team. All right, Brendan, let's start talking about this race coming up, some of the odds. Now, one thing that kind of, I guess, leaps out at me, we've got 5 guys that are favorites at 12-1. Logano, Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch. And right behind them, Kevin Harvick is 14-1, and Ryan Blaney is 15-1. Now, this is something for the bettors out there. And Brendan, tell me if you think I'm nuts. If you were to go out there and say, I'm going to bet $10 on 8 of these guys, if any of those 8 win the race, you're winning money because the longest odds are 12-1. I mean, do you think that's a smart way to go, or am I oversimplifying things?
No, you're not oversimplifying. That's that. Look, this is the Daytona 500, and you're coming up with a strategy that gives you a margin of error that is less than a normal race. The odds are high enough, but it can still not be one of those guys. I'm looking down that list, and I look at, you can see some of the movers. These were listed to us in order when we got them, Mr. Motley, and now there's Martin Truex was somewhere in the 25-1 range, down to 15-1. Jimmie Johnson down to 15-1. And remember, we were joking a couple weeks ago. I think the South Point had me at 200-1. I'm 30-1 at the South Point now. Which
is there video of you at the betting window before you went to Daytona?
Remember what we always remember. I didn't give my usual caveat off the start of the show that this is for entertainment purposes only for me, Mr. Mike Hilton and Steve O'Donnell and Jim France. I do not, I make no action on myself. But apparently other people came in and bet me down. So right now the scary part I have is I think my father, Jeff, is going to root against me in the Daytona 500 because he's got so much exposure right now.
Have you been to your little seminar that you're supposed to go to?
Yeah, no, I haven't been to the seminar. Do
they let you start the race on Sunday if you don't go to the seminar on sports gambling?
I have a feeling that they may just shake their head and look at me and we're right now talking about gambling on Gone Racing on the VSiN network and Sirius XM's channel 90 NASCAR radio, and I'm in the race. So
maybe you should teach the seminar.
So, yeah, I could do it. I definitely could do it. But back on point, there are some great numbers that I do love in this, and that is former Daytona 500 winner Ryan Newman 35-1, Austin Dillon 40-1, Tyler Reddick in that equipment 50-1. There are some amazing numbers to be found in that. And remember how well the Fords worked together a few years ago, and the Toyotas and Ford camps, how well they've worked together. You got DiBenedetto at 22-1, and he's done so well and you said it a second ago, Kelly, with the teams that he was on just a few years ago, and he was finishing top fives.
And to your point about DiBenedetto, I think that he's one of those guys that said he's really studied this art of plate racing and what it takes on these super speedways, I should say, and has really improved. Another one I'm going to throw out there is Erik Jones at 35-1. That kind of stood out to me. Again, he's been he's a winner at Daytona.
Yeah. No, he's won at Daytona, and he's been pushing the winner in 3 of them, I think. I mean,
at what point does he become exactly
pushy instead of pusher?
Correct. And if those Toyotas can work together, it's kind of been hit or miss with them a little bit. I feel like if it goes wrong, it kind of goes wrong for all of them.
Well, yeah, because there's only 5. So right. when they're all running together and they wreck, it takes all 5 out. But when they don't wreck, they are there till the end.
When they're well choreographed and knowing speeds on pit road and yada yada yada, they when you look at results, you usually see like Toyota 1, 2, 3. Like if a Toyota wins, there's a Toyota or 2 or 3 behind them. So I like that. And there's one other driver that I'm going to name that's totally out there, which is Ty Dillon, who has, I think I saw a stat, something finished in the top 6 the last 6 plate races or Daytona races. I can't remember which it is, but he's always right there. Somehow, in less than equipment and being a lone wolf, he's figured out how to be there at the end. And in these races, anything can happen.
Well, and he was great in practice.
And I think a guy really like Ty Dillon now has run enough races that I think some of the other veteran drivers would be willing to go with him. Because I think one of the things that some of the younger drivers, and I think that's what some of these rookies are going to face, is that the older drivers probably, they might work with them for a while, but they're not going to stay with them for very long. And I tell you, one name that I want to throw out who seems to always be in contention on these, and I guess we can't call them restrictor plate tracks, right?
Super Speedway.
Super Speedway.
Tapered Spacer
Super Speedway.
Or whatever.
I call it Super Speedway.
Is Bubba Wallace at 60-1? I mean, Bubba
he had that great race a couple years ago that we made so much noise when he started the season. Yeah,
right. I mean, he finished second there. I mean, he is always right in the mix of everything. I just think some of these long shots, if you're gonna bet on the Daytona 500, it's a great opportunity to really take a gamble. I mean, think about some of the folks. I mean, whether it's Trevor Bayne or Derek Cope and some of the upsets of people who've won, and even the year that Kurt won the Daytona 500. I mean, it was a little bit of an upset because he probably didn't have as good a car as he's had many other years. I mean, there's been a lot of years Kurt went down there and he had one of the best cars and he could lead the race. And that one year he really didn't have the greatest car. He ends up winning the race.
Exactly.
Well, and you were just talking about, betting on 8 guys or something like that, Jeff. But how about this? You could go manufacturer-based. If you go Ford, or Toyota Camp or whatever, you get wiped out all in one fell swoop. So do you want to bet in Camp? So stick with bet $10 on the 5 Toyotas. And guess what? Like Kelly was saying, if there's one in the lead, they're all 4 in the top 5. Ford, same thing. But the volatility of that is, if the wreck happened, if one of them causes their own wreck, it tends to take out all their teammates. So you can go in camp, or you can bet outside of camps. Take 2 Toyota, 2 Ford, 2 Chevrolet drivers, go across the board. There's lots of options here to be smart about how you bet at Daytona.
Well, and I don't think we're going to see the Daytona 500 be like the Busch Clash because, number one, the Busch Clash is a much shorter race. There's no points on the line, so what if you end up on the wrecker? I think these guys realize, there's more at stake here. Now, granted, that doesn't mean we're not going to have a big wreck. I'm still going to predict there's going to be a big pileup, but I think that big pileup will probably come in the last 25 or 30 laps.
You're giving us a lot more credit than I think than we deserve some days. We're race car drivers. We put a helmet on and blood flow gets restricted.
All right, but let me ask you this, Brendan. If you're running up front, it's not going to be the last 25 laps, is it?
No, and you've seen me race these before. Kelly's called these races that I've been in before. I will take a few shots around stage breaks to make some moves, to get up front, to be up front, to run, to get a little splash. And when they get a little too froggy, I will gently make my way into a safe zone and wait until the end. That's what I'm good at is finding the time to when to move, and that's still what I feel is my strongest asset here, along with a great race car, is timing, and you got to have it. I got to be there at the end, and that's what I plan on doing. So yes, you're right.
Keep all 4 tires on the ground.
I can't promise
that. Denny Hamlin said this week that he can sense the big one coming.
Oh no,
the hair on the back of his neck stand up, right?
No, it's so true, Kelly. The energy that. I think it was last year, first Talladega race, I was running like 8th. There's still 60 to go, 50, 60 to go or something, and I'm running in the top 10. We're running good, and all of a sudden I'm watching all the race cars, and I'm looking around, and I call my spotter, and I go, Ronnie, get me the hell out of here. And he goes, dude, you're in the – I go, Ron, get me out of here. And so we make our way all the way to the back. I mean, I went from 5th or 6th intentionally to 30th, and about 20, 15 car lengths behind the pack with about 4 or 5 guys. And 2 laps later, Kelly,
right,
6th through 20th is in carnage, and there's absolutely an energy. The problem you have with that energy, at the end of the race, that energy's there and you can't do anything about it. You just have to sit there and go, oh boy, hope I can get through it. Yay!
Well, the other thing is, don't you at some point need to move up front to know, to be up there to feel what it's like to be pushed? You need to be running with some of these guys that you might be relying on at the end if you want a shot at the win, who are going to push you. You've got to learn how to work with some of these other cars, right? You can't truly just hang back, wait for everyone else to fall out of the race and then go for it with 5 to go.
No, and that's why I do get up there at times in the day, because you got to make sure now, the good news is now, Kelly, they kind of know the 62 car is that strong.
Sure.
But you got to show them you got to give them a little love during the day.
Yeah.
Push a few guys, let them know how good that Chevrolet is. And then you have the guys that we normally are in a pack back there. It's always kind of the usual suspects. Me and Newman and it used to be Menard and sometimes the JTG cars. And we all, now I don't expect that this year with Ricky Stenhouse in their car, but that was always kind of our deal, is we knew how to play well with each other and do what we need. And you'll find those guys. But yes, I do have to get up there at some point and show them how good it is so that they remember when it comes. That's what Brad did at Talladega with me. I had worked with Brad earlier. At the end, he's like, let's go. You got a great race car. And he was hammering on me.
All right, Brendan, we got a couple minutes before we go to our first break. So we want to touch on the DraftKings top 3. And, you and I love the top 3 picks. But I tell you, the difference
There's one I like.
Well, one of the differences with Daytona, while we got all these great long odds to win the race, they're not huge odds on the top 3. So, but I can just tell you're chomping at the bit on one. So, other than you at 25 to 1, who are you excited about?
That is my favorite one right there. Is 25 to 1. I mean, how well we run there. There's absolutely no reason.
Well, then I'd bet you at 30 to 1 because you're either going to come home with a trophy or the steering wheel in your hand.
There you go. The tough one to me, and they're so short, like you were saying, but Kelly was saying earlier, Erik Jones is only 600, but he does well there. Bubba Wallace, probably the best value, 12-1. Been there a bunch. Ty Dillon, 12-1. Those are probably, Kelly, you said it earlier. Those three right there to me are some of the best value.
And one thing Brendan and I like to talk about is momentum. And even though Erik Jones basically drove a car that looked like mine does in NASCAR heat across the finish line in the Busch Clash, that momentum counts for something. And his confidence level, even though we know that, most everybody wrecked out of the race, I think that goes a long way.
I do too, and I just think his results there go a long way in building that confidence and having the teammates around him that he does. And I'm going to throw out one other name at 10-1, Austin Dillon. Again, former winner. He seems to love that track. He really gets this style of racing. So to have him finish top 3 at 10-1 to me, is another one of those decent value.
Brendan, Kelly is all in on the Dillon board.
I know. I'm surprising myself with these picks.
It helps me. It's RCR. I like it. That's my camp.
That's right.
If they're there, I'm there.
Well, and I think any of those folks that come in there in that plus 600, plus 500 range, I think, DiBenedetto at a plus 500. And Kyle Larson is one I really like. He's at a plus 700. I think that's a really good one. And even going back to win the race, Kyle Larson is at 30-1. So I think that's a terrific number.
One I don't like, Chase Elliott, 275, too volatile. Wrecks a lot.
Yeah, that probably is. That probably is a little bit long. Okay, when we come back on Gone Racing with Brendan Gaughan and with Kelli Stavast, we are going to start talking about the driver head-to-head matchups. Not much there, but we'll talk about it when we come back.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
The idea, you get 1,000 shots to make a hole-in-one on Pebble Beach's par 3 7th hole. All right, 1,000 shots to make a hole-in-one. 100 yards with no win. It's a short par 3 right there on the coast. It plays 100 yards with no win. If you make it, you get $1 billion. You get 1,000 shots. You make one, you get $1 billion. If you don't, you go to maximum security prison for a year. I said I would send JVT to Pelican Bay or San Quentin.
Is Pelican Bay like Catfish Bend?
No, it's a lot rougher.
Okay.
You don't want to spend any time there. I've watched the documentaries. Now, you said it's a no-brainer. The quote from you, and we ran the clip, this is a no-brainer. Yeah, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
So you're not that concerned about going to, like, San Quentin for a year?
No.
And what might happen to you?
No, I'm in.
Okay.
Totally in.
Okay.
Like I said, walk in. What's the old rule? Take down the biggest guy in the room. We're good.
Okay.
Your dominance from day one?
Exactly. All right, so here's what we have. The Edge, Ace in the Hole Challenge, coming this summer. JVT gets 300 shots to make a hole-in-one on Prim Valley's desert course, par 3, 9th hole. I almost aced that hole. I think you can. If you ace one, I will hand you $1,000 cold hard cash on the spot.
Okay.
All right? You got 300 shots, just ace one.
Yep.
I hand you $1,000. I'm thinking about a bonus, too. I'm thinking about maybe a bonus clause.
Do I get an extra dollar? Let's say I hit one. I get an extra dollar for however many shot attempts I have left.
Well, that's what I was thinking about, a bonus, yeah. A bonus that's kind of geared in that direction where if you hit it early in the contest, you get paid more.
Okay.
All right, so throw it up there, Sean, one more time. If JVT fails, if he goes 0 for 300, you have to host the Edge show one night dressed in a Tooth Fairy costume, and you must buy me and Sean each a South Point buffet. And there's a costume, the Tooth Fairy costume.
Oh, you guys already got me in it. That's good.
So how do you feel about the proposal for the tournament?
You add in that bonus, this is a no-brainer. I'm in.
I'm thinking about the bonus. Mark Nolan, who works out at Prim Valley.
Also does the voiceovers for us.
He does?
Every once in a while.
Has been on this show. He came up with the idea to use this hole. Great idea from Mark, and having played that hole several times myself, I think it would be ideal for this contest. So you're up for it?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
What do you think, Sean?
I think he's got no chance.
No chance. No chance.
No chance.
Wow.
I don't even need the buffet. If he's in that costume, it's good enough for me.
All right, fine. How about this? I want to add to this then, because I have no chance. If I do get it, Sean gets to wear the Tooth Fairy costume.
Done.
And I get my money.
Wow. Yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
All right, there we go.
Wow.
We're in.
Okay.
Welcome back into Gone Racing. Jeff Motley, Brendan Gaughan, and here in studio, Kelli Stavast from NBC Sports. And this is our second segment of the show where we talk about the driver head-to-head matchups. And Brendan and I admit that this is probably our least exciting part of the show because you have to talk about driver head-to-heads. And Brendan,
only for this race.
Normally
we like them.
Daytona and Talladega are very, very difficult. Minus 110, minus 110, minus 110.
Yeah, let me give you an overview of the whole thing. 2 pages worth of minus 110 today. But what's amusing, Jeff, if you go to the second page of when we say pages of the graphic that VSiN will show, all 110s except for Erik Jones minus 120, Kyle Larson at even. So apparently they've taken Kyle Larson as a dog in one of these, and these, of course, I believe are still from the Westgate, the new season. But I think we're still getting them from the Westgate, and I just don't. What I don't like. There's not. Listen, the show's supposed to be about me today, Kelly. There's not enough me in this one. There's no me.
Aww.
How come you're not in any of these head-to-heads? I mean, couldn't you get somebody?
Make your own.
to go out there. Hey, when you walk out, Kelly, you and Jeff go down, grab Jimmy and Chris, and tell them, hey, where's some driver matchups with Brendan?
Who would you want?
Yeah, exactly. Who do you want to be matched up against?
Put me up against him. Let's go.
Anybody in particular?
All right, you and Denny.
Put me and Denny. Put me at plus 140, and I like it. Let's go.
And I do think we know that Denny's either going to win or he's going to go to the Care Center.
Checkers or records, baby. I'm in the same boat though, kind of. I mean, I'm only here 4 races, but yeah, I mean, they have some fun ones to look at if we're talking about looking at them, Jeff. I mean, you got teammates Joey and Brad.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of fun, and there is maybe some ways. Once again, this is Thursday. These might move a little bit, as we get closer to kickoff. But you may see some motion here or there. I like the ones that cross camps, like Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin. Mm-hmm. One of the Fords and one of the Toyotas. There can be some fun in this, but this week is definitely not one of the more fun weeks of.
I kind of like there's a rookie matchup there. You got Christopher Bell and Cole Custer. I mean, I think it's kind of neat to see a rookie head-to-head matchup. I think that one's kind of fun.
I kind of want to see like a rivalry matchup, like Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch. Some of those, right?
Champion match.
Well,
yeah,
we might have a rivalry matchup in Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano.
Well, that's true. That's true. I don't know. Have you seen them talk while you're down there?
Have they been to Disneyland?
I was scuba diving. I got a new hashtag, by the way, along with the hashtag not gone yet. Hashtag scuba driver.
I like that.
Brendan is so big time, he actually has a PR person for this race.
I do have one this year.
And a helmet carrier, I heard.
Yes, we have helmet friend, and we got a full PR group this week, man. I got True Speed. We look like we're a professional race team now.
Awesome. I have to say, it has been a lot of fun listening to you and the whole Beard family, and just the level of enthusiasm that they bring back to the sport and to this event. It's been a lot of fun. It's like seeing a bunch of fresh faces. Getting to experience everything for the first time is what it feels like.
But Kelly, that's what is so cool about this. That's the story that NBC needs to spend more time on when we get to the second Daytona race. These guys, Mrs. Beard did an interview yesterday for the first time. She was so cute. She was so excited. She was nervous and she didn't know what to say. And it's just, you don't get that anymore. And
right.
For you to find that story now is few and far between. It's right here with the Beard family. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it is. It's also polished now, and as big as the Daytona 500 is, it can become routine for some people, or they've done it, 15 times. It's not, doesn't have the shine it used to, but it's been really fun listening. And you bring that to every race you come to anyway. So, but the Beard family has brought it to a new level. So that's been a lot of fun.
And then Brendan spent more time underwater than he spent on the racetrack, I think, since he's been in Florida too, haven't you?
Actually, you are 100% correct. I was underwater for 2 hours and 20 minutes the other day, and I've been on the racetrack for, let's see, it was 47 seconds and a minute, so minute 45. I have been on the racetrack 8 minutes in the 5 days I've been in Daytona, and I was underwater for 3.5 hours.
That's the benefit of qualifying your way in, right? Take a load off.
That's right.
So how
go
deep
relax.
did you go?
257 feet on the second dive.
Wow.
And I'm just going to start posting some pictures today because I have some time after the show's over.
So, Brendan, since there's like less than a minute now left in this segment and we've got everybody at minus 110, are we pretty much just telling people, okay, look, bet on who's going to win the race, bet on the top three, bet on the groups that we're going to talk about in the next segment, but stay away from the head-to-heads?
There's some great numbers in the group, some great fun in the groups, and that's our favorite, but there's a great ones there. Head-to-heads this week, it's non-existent.
If you just have a favorite driver, and you
Bet
just
on 'em.
want to bet.
There
with
you go,
your
bet
heart,
on 'em.
And you don't care about your head, or you really don't care about your wallet, then go over to the sports book and say, you know what, I'm going to bet on that driver head-to-head for the most part just because he's my favorite driver and it gives somebody to cheer for. So, okay, when we come back for our third segment, we're going to talk about the groups. Again, Jeff Motley, Brendan Gaughan, and Kelli Stavast.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
The new sports betting year. The Daytona 500 is coming up here. In a couple of weeks, you are in it.
Yes, sir.
I can get you at 200 to 1.
Ooh, who's got me?
Now at South Point.
South Point put me up?
That's 200.
Vinny, you put me
You
back
are
up.
End of it. You're not in the field. You are right here now.
Oh.
Joey Logano and
That's right.
Keselowski and Chase 10 to 1 over there. But listen,
200's worth it.
tell me about your car.
Another great Richard Childress Racing car. Beard Motorsports, the family that
Sure, I know more.
that I've been affiliated with now. RCR takes great care of us. I did not know that the South Point put us up at 200, so that is actually a really nice number. I know a bunch of people online were looking for a place. So, listen, South Point apparently has me up at 200 to 1.
I'm gonna tell you something right now,
Beat me
ladies
for
and
some
gentlemen.
money. Beat me for some money.
He's a high bank oval kind of guy. He can handle Talladega. He can handle Daytona. That's where he is at his best. I'm in. I'm in, my man.
Of course I can't. I'm not in. I'm just saying.
No, you can't.
theoretically, it's a great bet.
Theoretically,
and
Brent,
take my
you
money.
should be in.
You're in the race. And Brendan, as you know, it's not just about the odds. It's about a ticket count.
I know.
They've already started. We had a big crowd in this weekend. So
There you go.
There's several.
Actually, I had a guy at the window. It was really funny yesterday for Super Bowl. I had a guy at the window. One guy came up and bet St. John's. And we were joking. And he bet St. John's. I looked at him. I go, I don't like you. Go to the next window.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Georgetown, right?
Well,
that's why
we were
he
playing
said
St.
that.
John's yesterday.
He was on John Thompson's team with Allen Iverson. Okay.
So I chuckled about that. And then later a guy came up and bet Erik Jones in the Daytona 500. And I go, Erik Jones, huh? Not a bad bet. I go, like anybody else? I go, maybe a Brendan Gaughan bet. Good bet. And the guy looks and goes, I'm making it for a friend. I don't know anybody. I'm like, okay.
So next year we're going to have a sign at Brendan's window that says these are the following wagers you cannot make at this window.
That's right. Anything against Georgetown, the don't on Georgetown is not allowed.
Hey, Tommy Viola back there. That's not
Who?
Syracuse.
Who?
That your producers want.
Who is it? I don't know this guy.
Come on, I got
Brent, I woke up this morning. I knew Brendan was going to be on, and I reached for exactly one shirt in my closet that I knew I was going to wear today. Absolutely.
Hey, Mr. Musburger, ask Tommy one more important question.
Yes, sir.
How'd Georgetown do over the weekend, and how'd Syracuse do over the weekend?
Yeah, how did Duke do with the Qs up there in the Carrier Dome, Tommy? What?
I believe Duke was able to just barely scratch out a win.
And how about the Hoyas, my man?
The Hoyas, a very surprising win over St. John's, but just
Thank you very much, Tommy. Thank you.
End it right. He's got the mic. Quiet. He's got the mic.
Listen, we got bets going on and everything, and we got an 8-team round robin. He didn't hit it here. He hit it.
You hit an 8-team round robin?
Now let's go to the.
Now, first of all, if you come to my window, I'm throwing you out. Go to the next.
Welcome back to Gone Racing. Jeff Motley, Brendan Gaughan is on the phone from Daytona Beach, where he'll be racing Sunday in the Daytona 500. And Kelli Stavast from NBC Sports, nice enough to join us in studio. And Brendan, this is one of our favorite parts of the show when we get to talk about the group matchup. So let's jump right into them right now. The first group, Group A, certainly some heavyweights in there. We see three guys, Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski, who we think will probably work together as teammates. I'm sure they're going to have some team orders, even though they didn't go so well last Sunday, along with Denny Hamlin. And then the long shot in Group A is Chase Elliott at plus 280.
Yeah, those group matchups right there, Jeff, to me, are where we're going to start getting some exciting stuff. What I see in there are two Fords, a Chevy, and a Toyota. So I'm looking at manufacturer groups there, and the fact that Denny Hamlin, your reigning winner, was the dog and has been bet down apparently already to be 255. That says something. Once again, Chase Elliott, my problem with Chase, when he races these things, man, he causes a lot of wrecks. So I would try to pull him out of that group. I think he should be the dog. And now with the war that Kelly was just talking about with Brad and Joey, maybe that is a little more volatile. But that's a tough one because they're even. But I like Denny Hamlin.
If Chase didn't pick up on the voices, that was Brendan Gaughan who said that. If Chase is listening,
he said it, not us.
That's right.
So listen, I'm already retired. It don't matter to me.
And he won't care if you're pushing him to the lead on Sunday either.
I like that. Just push me straight. Push me straight.
Kelly, you see anything you like there in Group A?
No, I'm kind of along with Brendan on this one. I mean, when I looked at that immediately, Denny is the name that stands out to me. I just feel like time in and time out, he's just so good at this kind of racing. And so, yeah, and then I don't know. I think the Toyotas are going to be on. I think they're going to be well coordinated, and I expect to see a lot of them at the front.
Now we go to Group B. Kyle Busch is the favorite there at plus 245, and I believe Kyle helped Denny to win that race last year. So, come on, Brendan.
Do you flip it around? Does
the favor get returned this year? Kelly, you think the favor gets returned?
No.
Well, but here's the thing. It's not, you can't just say, it's like, oh, hey, your turn, guys.
Right.
Go ahead. It's where you are when the moment happens. Now, you can be friendly about it, but to me, what I like in that is I do like the dog. What I like about Kurt Busch is the only Chevy in that group. So if the Toyotas get wiped out in the one Toyota group wreck, or if Harvick and Blaney get wiped out in the Ford wreck, you've got the Chevrolet sitting there, and Kurt Busch, like you said, with a bad car, won it.
Right.
He's got a great car right now. I like Kurt Busch as the dog in that group. I'm dog heavy in that one.
I kind of agree with you there. I think that's pretty good. Now let's go over to Group C. There's your guy, Matt DiBenedetto.
All the way to Group C, Jeff. Group C, baby.
Matt DiBenedetto has, like Kelly, last year he started the season in like Group F.
Sure.
And now he's moved up to Group C. And, you know, there's not a lot of disparity in that group. You got three guys at plus 260, Matt D along with Bowman and Boyer, and then William Byron plus 265. But, man, I tell you, DiBenedetto, the way he races on the super speedways, it's kind of hard to pass that up.
I think that's just a sign, again, of the equipment that he's in. But I'm going to point to someone else in this group, and that's Clint Boyer, who I think is as fired up mentally after seeing his Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl as I've ever heard, at least through interviews while he's been down there in Daytona. I think something struck a chord with him watching them win the biggest event, and now he wants to go and do the same thing. And he is also a talented super speedway racer who has wins at Talladega and knows how to get the job done. So I'm going to look at Clint Boyer in that group.
Well, you're naming the two experience. I mean, Matt DiBenedetto has experience. Clint has experience. Alex and William have the least. I'm with both of you there. Is there a Super Bowl bump for Clint Boyer? I mean, okay, I'll buy into it. You can buy into anything at these sort of places. I get it. But I do like Matty D. And once again, looking at that group, you have two Fords and two Chevrolet teammates. So one of those guys makes it through the deal. They will work together. But I do like Matty D as on that in that Group C.
Now, the group that has the biggest disparity is Group D. Group D has got Martin Truex Jr., a prohibitive favorite at a plus 205. But if you can see our screen, he obviously did not open as a plus 205 because a lot of people have bet him because he's not listed at the top of the list, if you will. And then really long shots on Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Jimmie Johnson, and Erik Almirola. I mean, do you think Jimmie Johnson's got a Hail Mary in his final Daytona 500?
Why wouldn't you, Kelly? I mean,
Totally.
It's Jimmie Johnson. I mean,
Absolutely. And I think that, I saw some weird magic number thing floating around on a Fox broadcast about 7 years since his last Daytona 500, which was 7 years. There was 777, and now we're back to 7. So if you believe in numerology, it's 7 times turn to win the 500. But like you said, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I mean, look, Trevor Bayne won this thing a handful of years ago and never won another race. Why wouldn't you bet on a 7-time champion who is a 2-time Daytona 500 winner? So
I like the 62nd running of the Daytona 500 and the 62 car, but that's my numerology.
There's your numerology.
What I look at here, though, look, everybody talks a lot about Ricky Stenhouse, how great he is at these places, but he's also very volatile. Martin Truex gets wrapped up, and I'm going back to the manufacturer thing. Erik Almirola in a Ford, Truex in a Toyota, Ricky in a Ford, Jimmie in a Chevy. The only Chevy there, if the Chevys make it through, Jimmie is the best number, so he's going to pay you the most. But don't forget, Erik Almirola, Jeff, He's really good at these places. Sneaky good.
He is sneaky good, and he always seems to be in the mix. And he tends to stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
He manages to stay out of trouble. I think he was actually leading a couple of years ago. He was leading, got punted out of the way.
Austin moved him to win the race.
Austin Dillon knocked him out of the way. Exactly. All right, let's move on to Group E. Now, in Group E, there's two of the guys that we've been talking about, Erik Jones and Kyle Larson at plus 250 and plus 260. I mean, that's a couple of heavyweights right there. I mean, now we've got Ryan Newman in there, and Ryan is a former Daytona 500 winner. And Cole Custer, who is in his first race, and God bless Cole Custer, but here's the problem. Nobody's going to work with him on the last two laps because they're not going to work with a rookie. Unless he's got a teammate behind him who's willing to stay there. But I don't know that Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, or Eric Almirola will stay behind Cole Custer on the final lap.
Unlikely.
But Ryan Newman is one of those guys that's always there at the end, like Kelly talked about Ty Dillon earlier. So I like Ryan Newman there.
And let's go.
I agree with that, and I'll just quickly touch on Kyle Larson. I actually have a quick question for you, Brendan, because one of the Achilles heels of Chip Ganassi Racing has been their super speedway racing equipment, but do you think that there's been an improvement? Have they been able to put a little more emphasis on that? Or does it even matter?
They have as good of equipment as they need. They don't need to put a bunch more emphasis on it.
Okay, fair enough.
And then our last group, Brendan, we call it our Ron Flatter group. Ron Flatter was our host the first year, and then he
Chris Buescher's back in it. Chris Buescher's back in it.
Chris Buescher's in it. We got a couple of the rookies in it, and Austin Dillon in it. Boy, I really like Austin Dillon.
I was going to say, I don't know how you got Austin Dillon to Group F, but Austin Dillon 255 right there, lock, done.
Yeah. You got to pick on that one, Kelly.
I like Austin because I've spoken about him before. But
and his teammates there.
Look at his brother. Chris Buescher is what I meant to say. Look at Chris. He's got the experience now, I think.
And guys are willing to work with him.
Yeah.
So, okay, that will do it for the group matchups. We come back on Gone Racing. We'll make our picks.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
Why are you so passionate still about I watch you here. You're into this.
Yes.
This is something you enjoy doing. You've been doing it your whole entire life.
Yes.
Why are you so passionate about booking?
I love to see money flying around. I love people having a choice on something. I love to see where it goes. You know, obviously with the in-progress betting, it's different, but my whole thing my entire life has been I get juiced up before the game starts. It's all the maneuvering. Change this, do that. A guy just bet $32,000 on a hockey game. I was there. I just watched the kids do it. And hello, hi, who's Kenny? Who's that? So anyway, I get juiced up for that. Now, I can only do that so many times a year now. The Super Bowl I felt like I was 34 years old. But like, this is fine. The basketball's fine, but like, I can't take the basketball year after year. We're like going from here to here.
But you said this was good carryover this year.
Yeah, so far so good, and I feel good about it. And I'm looking forward to the March Madness. Then I would take my 3 months off, 4 months off in the summer.
All kidding aside, I ask you because I can tell you're passionate about this.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what you told me yourself before. You got something you're passionate about. That's good. That's
yeah.
a purpose in life.
Well,
that and Cheryl.
Well, the purpose is simply doing something. I don't consider this a job. I would have did this for nothing. There was a time when I was on both sides flying around, and I enjoyed it so much it meant my whole life. I drove to Las Vegas in 1964 with 3 of my friends just to see what Las Vegas was like. I was 18 years old. I drove the whole way. I drove back to Trafford. I started to come out, then 10 years later I moved out for good. But there was just something inside of me in 1964.
Same question for you two. This industry, I've noticed passion. Why are you so passionate about this gig booking?
Well, it's easy to, you want to enjoy what you're doing. It's exciting. Working for a family that understands the business too makes it a lot easier, as Jimmy can attest. I get to be with my friends and respected colleagues on a daily basis. So it's exciting. And if you and Jimmy's a teacher as well, and he's taught our generation a lot of good things, how to be tempered, how to continue to learn and do stuff. So there's always that challenge.
Welcome back to Gone Racing. This is a segment we call Banking It. I'm Jeff Motley. Brendan Gaughan is on the phone from Daytona Beach, Florida. Well, he'll be competing in the Daytona 500, his final Daytona 500 on Sunday. And Kelli Stavast from NBC Sports has been nice enough to join us inside the studio. This is where we make our picks. And Brendan, I'm going to spare both of us by not rehashing last year's standings because our producer Ann kicked our butts last year. But by going by the rules, you have to pick first because you did finish last year.
I think it was because I had the best season, and that's why I get to pick first.
Okay, well, you can believe that if you want. You picked Matt DiBenedetto to finish the top 3 at Bristol, and it made your whole year.
And it made my year, baby. Okay, so I'm once again, we will put this caveat, Kelly, to make sure everybody knows NASCAR, our policies. This is for me for entertainment purposes only for this, and I have a lot of fun doing this part. So I am going to go into the top 3 because I think there's some value in that top 3, and I'm going to take myself. I really do believe that at 25-1, I'm very much worth it there. I don't want to go for the win on me, Jeff, because I've been bet down so much, and I do think I can win it. But there's not as much value as there won when I was up in the 100, 200-1 range.
Paging the USA Today.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go 25-1 in the top 3. I'm going to stick in the top 3, and I'm going to go with a guy that I run back there with a lot, even though he's in the Ford camp this year, and I'm going to go with a Chris Buescher at 12-1. I do think those are 2 really, really good picks for me. They'll work out well in the end of that race. Then I'm going to go into the group matchups, and I will go into Group C, and I will stick with my guy Matt DiBenedetto for a top, to win that group, the Group D pick there, or Group C pick there. And then I'm going to go into Group D. I'm going to go with 7-time at plus 290. I like the long odds on him, and I think that will return me quite a bit there. And then I'm going to go jump into Group F, and I will take Austin Dillon at plus 255.
Okay, I finished second last year. I will go next. I'm actually going to take a race win, try to get some big points early on. I'm going Kyle Larson at 30-1 to win the race, kind of taking a flyer there. I'm going with our good friend and sometimes guest on the show, Matt DiBenedetto, at plus 500 to finish in the top 3. And my other 3 picks are in the groups. Brendan, you and I are not going to gain much ground on each other if we get these 2 right. I'm also going Jimmie Johnson at plus 290 in Group D. I'm also going to go Austin Dillon plus 255 in Group F. The one where we differ, I'm going to Group E, and I'm going to ride my man Kyle Larson. I'm picking him to win, then I should pick him to win.
Going twice. So putting a lot of eggs in that basket.
I just think he's really good on these tracks, and I think he's going to find a way to stay out of trouble. So those are my picks, and Ann was our winner. Now, just so everybody knows, Kelly's on the show. Kelly's going to pick as well for fun, and Brenton, next week we're either going to give her a pat on the back or we're going to make fun of her, depending on how she does. She knew that coming in.
Be listening.
So, but we are going to go to our producer, Ann Goldstone, who was the one who pretty much kicked our butts last year.
Castless Ann Goldstone to start this season. Let's see if she can keep that streak going.
Yeah, everybody should know she did the last several shows of the year last year with two casts on both ankles, by the way. So we're glad to see you upright and ambulatory.
Thank you very much. I am walking up and down stairs very cautiously now, though. But I am looking forward to this season. I'm looking forward to maybe pulling out a repeat of last season. And so we're going to start it off with a race win this week. I like the numbers on all of the favorites. So I'm going to go with Joey Logano at 12-1 to win. And then I'm just picking the next 3 from the top 3. I'm going to go with our friend Matt DiBenedetto and Kurt Busch at 600 or plus 600. Erik Jones at plus 600. And Cole Custer. This is the pick from the downstairs. Cole Custer for the top 3 at 10-1.
No love being given to your
I had it, but then downstairs says, no. We don't want Brendan.
They're all fired. They're all fired.
And Brendan, I feel like I should apologize for not picking you.
No. Too late. I'm going to rub it in your face next week when I win all my bets.
It's not that I won't be rooting for you. I promise. I will root for you over Kyle Larson, even though it's 30-1. All right, Kelly. This is a big moment.
A lot of pressure.
Not near as much pressure as you put on me and Brendan to be on the show because, like I said, you're a real pro.
We got the pro. We had the pro on here, and Jeff hosts with the pro next to him. So thank you for letting Jeff and I, raid your expertise.
Oh no, pleasure's all mine. All right, I feel like I'm having to step into some really big shoes here. But okay, so here are my picks. Number one, I'm going to start with a race win, and I'm going to go with Ryan Newman at 35-1 because I like those numbers. And I think they're going to pick up kind of where they ended last season, which is he's got a strong team. All right, then I'm going to move to top three. I'm making one switch here because someone's got to show our man Brendan, our scuba driver, some love here. So I'm going to pick
scuba
Brendan.
Driver, I like that. The scuba driver.
That's his new hashtag.
Yeah, scuba driver.
All right,
scuba
and secondly, I'm going to pick Chris Buescher there at 12-1. I'm going to pick a series champion. And I'm going to go with the soon-to-be 8-time and Jimmie Johnson, because at 40-1, why not? Maybe he finds his golden horseshoe again. And then finally, moving on to the group matchups, I'm going to go to Group B, and I like Kurt Busch in that group at plus 285. Those are my picks. We'll wait to see what happens this Sunday, and then how nice or mean you guys are to me next week.
So if
I was going to say, how about this? We all take a champion, but Kelly, you got to give us one more pick. Then we'll all do a champion also.
Did I break the rules?
No. We
can't really.
Okay, then I'm gonna. Then my other would be a top three, and that would be Ty Dillon, also at 12-1.
I like those.
All right, so now we're going to go pick a champion, but just
and
for the
she's
fun
taking
of it,
8-time.
Ann,
Yeah, let's do it.
Is Ann ready for that? Well, Brendan, go ahead. Who are you picking to win the championship?
Well, I do like her 40-1 on Jimmie Johnson because going out, Jeff Gordon almost did it that year. Rusty Wallace, came real close also the year he retired. So I do believe in some of that. But I'm going to stick a little bit. I'm trying to find some good value early on because it will change. And I like that Brad Keselowski is 12-1 right now, and I think he will be a favorite as the year moves on. I see a lot out of Penske this year, so I'm going Brad K.
I'm going to go with Denny to finally break through and get the championship. I think he's finally got his head on right, and I think he had it on right last year. I think he came really close, so I'm going to go Denny at plus 800.
Well, I think that I'm just going to throw this one out here because this sounds good to me. It's 12-1 Chase Elliott.
Ooh,
not bad.
There'd be a lot of race
Hendrick.
fans that would love that.
Hendrick back
that would
in
be a popular champion.
That would be very great. That would be great for the sport. So now, if Kelly beats us all this week, then that means we just have to add her to the group, and you have to call in every week and give us your picks.
There you go.
Guess, so.
I'm game. I'm a little bit offended that this is my first time in studio here, but that's all right. The first for everything.
Ow.
Only took 3 years.
Brendan, we have a...
We were intimidated, Kelly. Too intimidated.
All right, so we're extending the wide open invitation. Anytime you want to come in, you're free on a Thursday morning and you want to come in, Brendan and I would love to have you anytime.
Fair enough.
Right, Brendan?
Are you kidding me? We're going to make her. We're going to make her host when she comes next time, though, because we'll be able to learn something. Because them having me and Jeff switch off as host every week, I think people look and laugh and go, "Wow, these guys, those clowns."
I don't know. Jeff's doing a great job.
I'm pretty impressed. He is out. We had hard outs today, so the folks at home don't realize. Normally, me and Jeff get to just free flow this thing, Kelly. We get to break when we want. We had hard breaks and Motley. Nicely done.
Like real radio or real TV.
Yeah, exactly. Really did it. I'm really impressed, Jeff. You did a great job today.
Well, thank you. Because, Kelly, you have to know that, for the first 2 years, so everybody, the producers that sat back behind the glass, they had to sit there basically with their finger ready to hit the music button whenever we stopped talking. They'd
look at us and go, "Where are they going next? Where are they going next? Get ready with this graphic." We are definitely, let's say this, we're not polished TV. How's that?
Well, all right. So, Brendan, when we talk about hard breaks, we've got one to end the show in about 3 minutes, and we've made our picks. So I kind of want you to tell us what your strategy is for Sunday. Who are going to be your friends out there? I mean, do you know going in who your friends are, or are you just going to have to make some when you get on the racetrack?
No, I have a few that I know, even if I work with them or not during the day, that they will be my friends. So I have those guys that you can kind of count on right off the bat without having to, like we talked, Kelly, you said earlier, without me having to prove something to them early in the race. There are a few that I would love to get up and show a little something with, give a little help to early on, show them how strong our Chevy is. That would be really, really nice. So my strategy, though, is we talked about it. I'm going to hang back, try to stay clean, try to make sure that I can have that beard oil Chevy there at the end of the day. And then a few different times I'll go up, show a few things, get into the mix for a little bit. Once that energy starts to get where I feel some negative chi flowing from the group, I will chi my way out and wait for something to happen. And then at the end, the goal is to be there. And maybe one of these days, Kelly, I can make it through the last wreck, because 9 out of 12 races with the Beards with less than 10 to go, I've been in the top 10.
Yeah,
that last wreck gets me. That last wreck gets me.
And you guys celebrate no matter what, like it's a win.
Oh, come on! This family, everything's gravy for us. So I'm excited that I'm honored that I'm here. I'm 44 years old, still doing this, having a brilliant time, and I'm going to enjoy every second of this, Kelly.
And Brendan, you should be excited because you probably haven't seen it because you've been gone to Daytona for almost a week. But the Speedway, we're going to host a Daytona 500 viewing party on Sunday here at the South Point Hotel. And you are up on the marquee. It's come cheer for Brendan.
You know, it's funny.
Anybody else cheer for Brendan at the Daytona 500
I laugh.
watching party.
Kelly, I've raced cars in NASCAR since 1997. This is like the first time my father's ever even admitted in the casino that oh, hey, look, Brenny's racing.
Oh.
Like, it only took 24 years for him to, let me have a little bit of love around there. So it is nice. They are going to do a watch party. I'll take it. And they did say, Jeff, I think in the showroom is going to be the Daytona 500 watch party and a, come cheer on Brendan Gaughan party. So, folks, if you're in Vegas, get your app ready so you can bet from the showroom. Go to the sports book, sign your stuff up, and come have a great time and watch one hell of a Daytona 500.
Well, there's going to be a lot of prizes in there. There's going to be tickets to give away. There's going to be neon garage passes to give away. There's going to be
next race is Vegas. That's right. All that stuff to give away.
Vegas, so we want everybody to be ready to come to the Pennzoil 400. We got about 15 seconds left, Brendan. I think Kelly and I both want to tell you best of luck.
Good luck
in the
thank
Daytona
you, guys.
500. We hope you do great. I'm Jeff Motley from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Brendan Gaughan is on the phone. Kelly Stavast from NBC Sports. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you next week on Gone Racin'.
New to VSiN? The best way to learn more about sports betting and how VSiN can help you is to sign up for our free daily newsletter. Get an email every morning with news and betting resources plus our programming highlights. Go to vsin.com/newsletter. That's vsin.com/newsletter.
With me is Jay Carnegie, the sportsbook director at the Superbook here at the Westgate. And sign-up day for the Super Contest came early this year, my friend. You changed the date on us, but I had to get here. at the crack of dawn, my man.
It did. Well, we anticipated that the interest was going to peak, and we have set records over the last 10 years, Brent. So we knew that what we saw last year when we opened up in March 1st, started accepting entries at that time, it went over very well. So we said, why not try to capture the Super Bowl crowd as well?
You changed a couple of ways the contest is going to unfold. It's still $1,500 buy-in on the regular and $5,000 for the gold winner take all. But I love your quarterly contest. Tell us about that.
Well, there's another operation out here that
your friends at Circa.
Yes. To be honest, they do a great job, and we heard a lot of positive things about the in-season bonuses that they were offering. So we wanted to do something very similar to that, and we are now going to give $135,000 away for each quarter of the season. So the weeks 1 through 4, 5 through 8, etc., we'll be giving away $135,000 during those time periods. The winner will get $100,000, second place will get $25,000, and the third place finisher will get $10,000. That's the best record over that 4-week or each 4-week span during the course of the season.
Will you just split the money if there's a tie?
Oh yeah. The ties will be split, and there's no tiebreaker or anything like that. So certainly there could be more winners than 3 for each quarter.
Okay. Now here at the Super Contest, you had a secondary contest run the second half of the season. Will you still have that this year, Jay?
Yeah, we're not only accepting entries for the Super Contest, but we're accepting entries for the Super Contest Gold and also the Reboot. The Reboot was their inaugural season was last year, and it's actually a mid-season contest. It starts week 9 and it goes through week 17, and you don't have to be the original Super Contest to enter. It's open for anyone, and the entry fee is $500 for the Reboot.
Okay, well let's break another record. VSiN 1, VSiN 2, all of you beat me last year. I'm coming back, and I'm coming back strong, Jay. Thanks a lot.
You know, I know you talk to John Murray a lot. Maybe you should find another source.